I just want to, good morning to all of you from me and from St. Crispin's home and from the staff that is there. I want to thank you for inviting me, and I also want to thank the sponsors of this event, for making this happen, for the hard work, as Jigneshji has just said, that has gone into getting all of you all together and the months of planning, and I can see the results here of the hard work. I got a call from Dr. Pandya some time back, and he mentioned about having this event, and he said, I would like to invite you. So I was there last year. I think that was edition 1. This is edition 2. So when you get invited for edition 2, that means you are doing something good. Or you've done something bad and they need to tell you. But I guess this is something which good that we've done in the last 1 year that has gone by. So he also mentioned that there will be 3 speakers. He had identified 2. And as we were discussing, I know standards are falling nowadays around the world. As we were discussing, he said, can you be the 3rd speaker? I said, oh, standards truly have fallen. But I'll make sure they don't fall any further and see what I can do to lift it up. Quite an impression, I must say, that I've made on him. And I guess that is the time that we've spent together over the year that has gone by. Now let me, I shared this, my speech which I wrote, and I shared it to my wife who's sitting here, and she said, how long are you going to speak? I said, 15 minutes. He says, this is for 1 hour. I said, I over-calculate, just in case. But I'll try and stick to 15 minutes timing, sir. I'll try and do that. I want to put a question across to you, and I want you to think. What do you think? What is in your mind? What is religion? What is religion? What comes to mind when I ask you that question? What is religion? Each one has his own dimensions of what religion is. I may see it in a way, someone else may see it another way. Some may think, oh, there is no religion at all. But I want to draw your attention to a passage, and it's in the Bible from James chapter 1, verse 27. And it says this, that religion is pure and undefiled before God, the Father, is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and keep oneself unstained from the world. The second part is actually the answer to the first part. What am I supposed to do? What is pure religion, which is undefiled? And that concludes in the third part of this verse. Widows and orphans. I mean, how many of you, tell me, really, seriously, other than duty calls, will go and visit as a choice? Forget Rotary or any other organization, that you will on your own make time to go to an orphanage or a home where widows are taken care of. Not many. I'm telling you, not many will do that, because the hurry-burry of life is such that it doesn't permit us to spend time in events such as this. And these are not events that will be projected. But it also speaks about another quality or another aspect, and that is affliction. Now, these widows are not, or these orphans don't have crores of property, but they are afflicted, maybe physically, mentally, and in many other ways. And your visitation is just not to see their condition, but your visitation is to actually elevate them from their misery. There is misery there. And where your coming there elevates them from that misery and helps them to move on in life. And in the midst of all this, and it's something that I struggle with, is keeping myself unstained. Because pride is so easy to set in that, I do all these things and then tell 100 people that I visited an old age home or a widow's home or an orphanage, and just keep doing what one is supposed to do. Now, moving on to St. Crispin's home. The work of St. Crispin's home, I chanced upon a book on the internet. Google has published it. It's 34 years of Pune, written by one father, Elvin. He was instrumental in getting a lot of properties and then bringing them under the banner of the church way back in the early 1900s. And he wrote a book in 1911, sort of chronically putting in all the activities that he's done. And in one of those pages, he mentions about the work of Yarandavana, and now we call it E, starts with an E. Then it started with a Y in the early 1900s. So the work actually started in 1891. The property was taken on lease in 1900, and then now it is what you see today is just a new image of the small houses. The bungalow is still as it is, the church is still as it is, but there were small houses which were built to house these children. They were teaching these children from the villages of Yarandavana. And then that moved on after the pandemic of 1929 of plague, and children became orphans, that they took them into their compound. So that's how humble beginnings. And let me tell you, the church was built in 2,500 pounds in 1903. Now, I'm trying to renovate it. It's going to cost me 2,74,000 pounds. And I said, inflation is at its height from 1900. And so that's how the home is what it stands today. We have close to about 140 girls from the age group of 6 years to 18 years. Our period ceases at the time they turn 18. So it's 12 years that we get with them to really work on them. These children, we don't go out and bring these children in. They come in through Child Welfare Committee, which is located at Yaroda. There are 2 of them. We come under CWC 1. And so they, on their order, they come to us. So theoretically, and I say that emphatically, theoretically, we have a government grant. Theoretically. You can draw your conclusions from that when I say theoretically. We are a non-religious organization. We are a social organization or a social trust. So we do not pursue any religion. But the constitution of this home girls is, they could be anybody. They could be Jharkhandis, they could be from Andhra. Depends on where they've come from. They could be Maharashtrians on Pune district or wherever. So that's our field of work. Now, one of the main activities that we do is look after orphans. Now, what do I mean by orphans? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is no parents, which is true. There are no parents who can look after them. So we do have certified orphans. Certified in the sense the court says, investigation done, nothing found, this girl is an orphan. And then, depending on what her age is, she will go through the infant care system to begin with, and then at the age of 6, she will get transferred to us. Now, what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is looking after them, I mean, basically care and protection, education, and helping them to stand up on their own 2 feet once they turn 18 and adults, to be absorbed into society. Now, like Madam said, that a lot of stories, yes, a lot of stories that go with this whole. I know one girl who got a name because of the bag she was found in. There's a bag. She was found in a bag. And the bag had a particular name. So now what to give this infant of maybe 4 days or 5 days old? What do you give him? Give it a name. So they gave the name of the bag. What was on that? And if it was, say, Prachi, she would have got the name of Prachi. That's how the whole system operates. You don't know who she is. You don't know whether she's a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a Sikh or what. You don't know what state she comes from. It's just that she's found in a bag, in a dustbin, crying. Somebody identifies, takes her to the system, and that's how she lands up at our place. These children have no concept of what is a family. Like we have a concept of what is a family. No concept at all. Because they've never lived in a family. The family that they have is these 140. The social workers and the house mothers. That's all the family they know. They have no concept of what is a society. And this is actually applicable even to the second category of children, which I will make mention of. No concept of what is a society, because they've never been in that society. For 5 years, if she was found at the day 1, then she would have been in some home till that takes care of 5-year-olds, up to 5-year-olds. And then after that, she would have come to our place. So no concept of society. I want to make mention here of one girl who passed out from our institutions a while back. Her name is Shraddha Lokhande. I asked her, I said, can I mention your name? She said, yeah, please do. Father was a wayward chap. Mother died. Eventually the father also died. And one of the relatives started taking care of her. She was a single child. Couldn't manage the finances because she too herself had about 2 or 3 children. So she left her at our home through the CWC. Now remember, she's an orphan. The aunt never came to visit her, ever. That's what she told me. And she finished her 10th from our school. We run a school from the 1st to the 10th in the premises. And then later on, she finished her 12th standard, applied for BCA and completed her BCA. Now, no family support, no relative support, but she managed to complete her BCA through help from maybe folks like you, who came around and said, your tuition fees for the next 3 years are taken care of. Your boarding and lodging is taken care of. And that's how she finished her graduation, got a job. And then last year she called me up and she said, now I'm in France. I said, what are you doing there? She says, now I'm doing my master's in Paris. An orphan lands up in France doing her master's on her hard work. She deserves a clap. And last month, about 8 months ago, she called me up and she said, I have discontinued my master's because Google picked me up and put me in Warsaw office. I said, what happens to your funding and expenses? She said they were so kind. They covered all the expenses for my work. She does something in some gaming which I can't figure out. It's too high and mighty for me. She tried to explain it but gave up at some point. But now, last month she relocated in the US, in the Google office. And this is a journey of an orphan. And I see that they are not here because of chance or any other reason, but they're here by divine intervention. Not just in our home, but any home. I mean, this is a story that I know. But if you call other institutions, I'm sure you'll have hundreds of better stories. Maybe some folks who've done PhD later on in their lives and who have been orphans. So this is by God's appointment that I would say that they come to our home. Then we have a second category. Am I good on time or have I messed it? My goodness, okay. That's how MCs operate, I know. So destitutes is the other. Children who have parents or single parents, unable to take care of themselves. So maybe because of financial constraints or social environment constraints, and then they are brought to us. And again, we do the same thing that we do with the orphans. Care and protection, education, and just help them to become responsible members of the society. Not just responsible, but even contributing members to the society. Now, Asmita, and I want to just say one story here, a short story. We have a girl who came to us, had a mother, had a father. Mother was in jail for life term, so she did about 14 years in Yaroda jail. Father was sentenced about 4 months back to be hung. And the designated judge who's looking after our home passed that judgment. And we are good friends. So he passed the judgment on to me. I was reading the judgment. The mother walks in and she says, I have now been released. I'm free. I've done my 14 years and I'm so happy you're looking after my daughter. And she says, have you heard about my husband? I said, no, what happened to him? No, he's been sentenced to hanging. And I was reading this judgment. I said, what's his name? Is this his name? Oh, yes. So then I called up the judge and I said, the judgment you passed, that daughter is in my home. He says, what a coincidence. It's a small world. So we have, even these kind of children who stay with us, who will have parents, but in actual, they are orphans because there's no one to look after them. Some parents don't come for years on end to meet their daughter. I mean, we have to plead with them, come and meet your daughter. And that doesn't happen. Then we have a third category. But before I go to the third category, let me make mention here. You ran the Asmita project 6 months ago? Maybe a little more. And this phenomena of the third category has just started maybe 4-5 months ago. And 3 videos were shown. And they were excellent videos, and I've shown them again to our children in the school. 3 videos were shown of the 4. So I would like to thank Rotary Bibvewadi for sharing those videos with us, organizing that whole program. And I would like to thank GTPL for being a strong partner, because I think without you all and your partnership, that would not have been possible. So, and our kids loved it because it was so informative. And believe it or not, after that, the police cases started coming in. And we get all sorts of police cases. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how to put it, we only get victims of society. JJ Act talks about conflict with law and care and protection. We are actually care and protection, but now because of the remand homes closing down all over Maharashtra, they come to our homes directly. So we've now been working in that field. And let me tell you, if you sit and listen to any of those stories, I'm telling you, you'll lose sleep in the night. I mean, the 14-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, and sometimes even the 9-year-olds, what they go through. I mean, it's something that even my enemy should not go through. That's the kind of stories that you hear from them. I had a girl who, last Friday, was sitting, who came to the home midnight. I was talking to her. I'll finish in a minute, sir. Okay. And talking to her, she had run away from home, wanting to go to Jharkhand with 800 rupees in her pocket. And because her father was a little on discipline. And she just refused to give me her father's number. I called up the school. She was a part of a chain of schools, and I called up one of the school. Number was not reachable. And I said, let me try some other number. And to cut the long story short, I managed to meet the investigating officer on phone, the father, the principal of that school, and was able to prevent IPC 363, that is a missing persons case, because then it would have taken us into another loop and already stretched time, and then have this going on at the same time would have been difficult. So within maybe 24 hours, we closed the case because we had no papers which came from the police department. And post my and our social workers sitting with her, in about 4 hours, we had concluded the case, and now she's safely back home with her parents. Her mother resigned her job in Jharkhand, and now she said, I am fully dedicated for my daughter. And so not only the daughter we were able to counsel, but we were also able to counsel the parents. And that's something which we also have to do, because there is a role of the parent, and sometimes mistakes can be made there. So every day, as I said, is a unique day for us. Every day has its own set of challenges. Every day is not like the day before. And it's godly strength that we get, that we can move from one day to another. We've managed to finish a lot of projects in the year that has gone by. Since March of 21, we put up a 27 kW solar grid. We put up 40 computers with 4 servers given to us by Amazon. And this is purely for the school, because I want the children to be versatile in computing, because that's what the whole country is going to now. So I'm also working with some companies to say, come, visit our home, take 2 hours, 3 hours of the week, teach them coding, because coding is something which these kids cannot escape going forward. So teach them coding. We have girls who are doing A&M, GNM, BCA, home science, and electronics. So we have that whole bunch happening. But I would like to make a special mention here and close after that, because he's coming closer. So, and close after that. We had one girl, and that's the girl that I talked about, whose father was on death row, or is on death row. She's our girl in part of the home. And I wanted her, because she had finished her A&M, I wanted her to do GNM. But then resources are scarce. And government, as I said, it's just theoretical money. So Rotary, and I would like to thank, I don't know if she's here, but Rotarian Ripple Chandani for standing up, taking the initiative. And thanks to you all. Are you there, ma'am? Thank you for your effort, ma'am. Thank you. from all of us at St. Crispin's home and Neha. And now she's at a college very close by in Wagholi, doing her first year GNM. Because I don't know where the father will go, but she has to take care of her mother. And I said, you have to stand on your feet. We can't support you into eternity. Stand on your feet, look after yourself, and look after your mother. And I think that is the essence of empowerment of daughters. And it also, and I conclude with that, I didn't know it is Daughters Day today. And today also happens to be my daughter's first wedding anniversary. I can't be there, she's in Auckland, New Zealand, but it's good to be here with the celebration of daughters, and good to be at the home to have 140 daughters. So thank you for your patient ear.